Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's up everyone? Today it's the Man-Child. Alright, so today up for review, I'm going to also go over the Wave 10 Master Universe Revelation Skeletor, or what they're calling Horde Skeletor. Anyway, another interesting Skeletor variant, I want to say. Now, from what I know, as far as Horde Skeletor, so he's pretty much a variant or a redesign from Mattel. I think he's inspired from the Golden Books version of the Masters Universe that was where he was once an apprentice to Hordak, and his like lust for power is what altered his face or damaged his face into the skull. We all know he eventually betrayed Hordak and he fled to Eternia, and that's where he got into his battles with He-Man. And then I guess he's reimagined now with the newer Horde look, or that's the way Mattel created him with the newer Horde look to battle He-Man after flooding to Eternia. I don't remember if the Golden Books if he looked like that. I don't think so. But anyway, I think this is a redesign. The bio in the back says something a little different, but yet he was still part of the Horde. Anyway, it's pretty neat to see Skeletor, or newer variant, in this fashion. And here's a quick look at the art on the back of the box. That's pretty cool looking. Skeletor looks like he's coming through the porthole, entering Eternia maybe. And here's a closer look at the bio for Horde Skeletor. You want to pause and read that. And dropping down, here's a quick look at all four figures. It's going to be part of the Wave 10 series. Here's some more art on the right hand side of the box. Skeletor just standing up, different pose, and cool. And yeah, and you can see he also has like the Horde logo symbol up on that neck armor there. And real quick, I'm also wondering why they use the Revelation box. I mean, maybe they just kept the Revelation box going back to the Revelation Skeletor and just have the redesign. It doesn't say Horde Skeletor. Or I wonder if this is how Skeletor is going to appear in the third season of Revelation, or that Netflix Master Universe cartoon coming out. Maybe it has something to do with that. I'm not sure. Okay, so I got a Horde Skeletor out of the box and give him a quick look around with setup. I got the staff in hand right now and his two accessories. And bringing in Horde Skeletor for a closer look. So yeah, he has this cloak, cape, scarf kind of thing going. Now you can, I mean, I guess, you can push it all the way down, expose the face. That's a pretty cool skull. Or you can raise it up. You want to hide the, nose and his jaw, mouth, just see the eyes. So that's kind of creepy looking. But to kind of, we'll get into removing it in a second, but you can flip this piece off. All right, we'll take a closer look at the head with that out of the way. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that horse symbol on the armor. That's neat. Let's take a closer look at that skull. That's really cool. I like that. Got the hood. Now it's built into the hood, similar like the first release Skeletor. It looks like it's its own sculpt, but glued back, into the hood itself. So, and of course, the hood's a hard plastic, flat black color. Yeah, the eyes and black eyes. There's no pupils in them, nothing like that. And the jaw doesn't articulate. But really cool design, different head, We're going to try it on a couple of Skeletors later, of course. As far as the articulation, we go left to right, down and back, and he does also have the point on the hood there. So moving on to this cape cloak thing, pretty neat. Yeah, cool material, just you're real fuzzy on the outside there. There's no wire in it. That would be neat, but it's a deluxe thing. See how the material is on the back, very typical for a lot of the Masterverse capes. But this one's a little wider than the traditional Skeletor. Watch my first release Skeletor, I got a custom cape. I'll show that. Now this scarf piece that comes off this cape, the way I see it, so if you unfold it, just kind of makes this big ring, something like that. And I'm guessing I'm doing this right. You make a figure eight again, pull it around the neck, and then kind of position and fold it over. Seems to me. So, and then you work it back here to this little hood piece. And then you can, wrap it up around the face and this part here. It's kind of tricky. I think I'm doing it right. Something like this. You mess around with it and then look like that in the back. All right, so moving down, I think I got this right. It's sort of like a figure eight thing, and you want to obviously have all this outer material kind of rounds out down here, and you stretch it like the image on the back of the box under the neck, or keep it as a scarf by the face. I think it's supposed to look like this. So we don't know that, how the cape moves. So as far as the articulation with everything on, I'll leave everything on for the moment. Right, everything we know, the arms go out, down, forward, back, bicep swivel. You can bend all the way up the elbow to the face. Both arms are exactly the same. Now you can see that, yeah, he's got a light, real purplish light skin, like certain Skeletor variants and different lines, where a lot of newer stuff is very blue. Would have been neat if they gave him some type of wash. It's just very flat, kind of surprised at that. But there's that armor. We're going to take this cape off in a minute. And with everything on, we'll just, do the ab crunch spin with the armor on. Go all the way, oh cool, we'll go forward and go forward. All the way forward, back, and we know he spins at the waist. So let's take the head off for a second. All right, we'll pop our head off with the ball peg, and as far as this whole piece, gonna come right off like this. And of course, here's a closer look at that cape off the body. Yeah, and you just had that little neck piece that's separate from these two pieces that figure eight or wrap around. You don't have to really mess with them. I did. I think this is right. You got to mess around with it a little bit, but you can just see how that comes off and the overall design of the cape, size. And while I'm still talking about the cape, I wanted to make a quick point. So I was looking at this. I was like, is this the same cape Andra has? I wasn't sure, but no, they are different. But I just wanted to make sure that she has more of a hood. It's sewn different where he has that crossover strap. So you want to just check that out. I just wanted to make sure you're not getting the same cape. It doesn't look like it, but they are the same length and the same material. It's just this one has the hood's different over this piece. Here's a quick look at Horde Skeletor with the cape off and head back on. You didn't want to use that. Pretty cool. So with the cape off, moving down to the armor, it's yeah, just the same exact armor the first release Revelation Skeletor comes with. So I'd paint it different, as these shoulder straps here, the crossbones, it's separate from the armored piece. And of course, I'll bring the original Revelation Skeletor in soon, compare it. But yeah, that red painted red bat looks like a Horde symbol to me with the black. It threw me off, but this is the normal design for Skeletor. So it's a bat, but maybe that's what goes back to the Horde. Now you can see the belt. So looking down at it, belt has it's a different belt with the Horde bat symbol on it. So that's pretty cool. And that's all one color, and then we already know he had a strap. Let's see the back. Okay, so it's all the same as the first release Skeletor. And as far as the armor, so we'll pop the head off again. And this piece should just come right. Sorry, pop it back here like that. Pull it off. Okay, there's two pops. Like two pieces of pop off that peg, and it's just going to pull her off the body. And just here's a little closer look with the armored colors. I'm going to check that out. Crossbone. Yeah, I like the silver painted in the bones like that. There's the straps. And now here's a closer look with Horde Skeletor with the head back on. Of course, the cape and the armor off the body. And you can see the overall design of the buck, and the color's a little better now. Putting the armor and head back on for a minute, moving back down to the waist, finish up the articulation. So we know he spins the waist. We already went over that little Horde belt there. It's pretty cool. And all right, the back's just flat. He has a different type of loin pad instead of the traditional individual pieces that hangs, more like a kind of a kilt looking thing. Just black, a flat black color. Pretty neat sculpting material, and it's so you have the piece here that can lift up. There's two pieces on the side, individual pieces on the side, and then the larger piece in the back. So that's neat because it's with the articulation of legs now, we can go all the way out, and that pad doesn't hinder it. All right, we can kick forward, go back about that far, bend over at the knee, spin at the boot. He has a thigh cut up in there too. Yeah, he has a new style half boots or shin guards. Pretty different. Actually, no, it's the same. No, it's the same one Skeletor already has on. I'm sorry, just with the red colors here and black down here and a little bit of red. Throws me off. I guess that's the whole point. He feels like a horde leader or something instead of traditional Skeletor. But anyway, so he just has has those, and then the same type of feet, but the nails aren't painted, and the articulation, you can go up, down, and it can rock side to side. And then moving back up to the hands, so the right hand has the pointing finger, right? It can spin, so the hinge joint go in and out. And then the left side has a semi-open weapon gripping hand, I call it, so that I can spin go in and out. And yeah, the nails aren't even painted on this one, like where the first release Skeletor is. So moving on to accessories, Horde Skeletor pretty much just comes with two complete closed punching fists for the left and right side. Also have hinge joints in them, and it looks like the pegs can also fit the Origins figures as well. And for his last accessory, he comes with his typical Havoc staff, and so the staff itself is just done in like a metallic silver color, and then the ram head itself is a translucent red, which is cool. It's but it looks like it's the same exact staff as the first release Revelation Skeletor. So I wanted to bring in the first release Revelation Skeletor and do a side-by-side comparison between the two. So now this one has a custom eBay cape, came from eBay. Pretty cool, man. It's like purple, got wires in it. You can spread it out, make it look like it's flying. Instead of that purple beach towel cape thing he came with, I got rid of that, but this isn't part of the normal Revelation Skeletor. Everything else is the same. Now, of course, with our Horde Skeletor, you kind of see the differences between the two. So if you work your way from the feet up, yeah, and of course the skin tone's totally different, but yeah, the nails aren't painted in this one. The ankle These ankle shin guards are the same exact design. I thought they were different, but again, the paint is throwing me off. So that little bit of paint kind of makes it look different by the eye. But if you move up, the loincloths are it's kind of kilt thing is they're totally different. Where this one's a typical traditional Skeletor with the multi-piece setup, and this is more solid as I showed. He has a traditional Skeletor belt. Of course, he has the Horde logo on the belts I showed. Havoc staffs are both exactly the same, but this one has a translucent head in a red color, and colors are different, obviously. And the armors are all the same. Once again, different colors, and the heads are different, of course. And then, okay, not the cape on this one, and then this one has that black cloak cape thing. It's also it's a Velcro piece too. I just noticed you can pull apart and readjust it. I didn't see that. It's all wrapped up together, so I put the cape back on. But aside all that, two heads of staff in this cape. It's so, and the color is all you're really getting. So moving on to a little part swapping, like I do in all my videos if I can. Yeah, I just drew the first release Revelation Skeletor head on this body and kept the that cape on. So you want to check something like that out, see what it looks like, something different like that head. And now I just took the first release Revelation Skeletor body in this color without the Horde belt and all that stuff, threw this cape on in that head. So you want to do something like that just for the color of the body. And now here's a look with that Horde Skeletor head on, of course, the Revelation first body with that custom eBay cape. The wire's out. If you wanted to go pick something like that up on eBay, a little customization, check that out. So this figure's really about the cape and the head now. So next up, I'm going to bring in the classic Skeletor with the armored off next to our new Horde Skeletor. Now he was the Terror Claws one, so I have the armored off. But let's see what kind of little parts switch we could do around with these two. Okay, so I just threw the Classics head on top of that ball peg on this Masterverse Horde Skeletor body. You wanted to try something like that. Of course, left the cape on, and it does articulate and move all around. So if you like that head, you want to try something with the Classics head on that body, it does work, and it looks pretty cool. All right, now I just threw the Masterverse Skeletor cross armored, the cloak cape, and the head on the Classics body. It looks pretty cool. The armor fits. You can see it. I had to stretch a little bit in the back, get that together, but it did work. It looks like without the cloak. I'm going to keep the cloak on, but overall, but here's the problem. See the heads, Masterverse heads going on classic ball pegs, they're loose. They don't usually fit. You can push them down, kind of lock them in, put a piece of tape. You can make it work. Does articulate. Doesn't pop off unless you put them upside down, but you want to put this setup on a classics body if you had one, because a lot of people like these aesthetics over the Masterverse. I mean, I do too. It just goes back to vintage nostalgia, but take a look at that. And now I just put the classic Skeletor head back on the classics body, left the cross armor, the cape on, and put the staff in hand. And for another comparison, so of course we have our Masterverse Skeletor here. I got the armored cape and everything off for now. Against our 2000X inspired Origin Skeletor. I brought him in because he's a little more complex looking, and his skin tone is closer to his, but still off. And this is our first release Origin Skeletor that ever came out with the open mouth and the really blue skin. So let's mix some parts off of the Masterverse figure onto these two. So I just took the cape and of course the armored off the Masterverse and put it on the Origins 2000X. I put the 2000X head on first, and yeah, it fits okay, articulates well, goes up and down, the whole deal. And the cape looks pretty cool. It drags a little bit, but it works. And every time, don't mind this mess up here. I think I got it right. Every time I take it off and on, it messes it all up. You can kind of form it, but you want to take a look at that. Now, yeah, it looks cool on that figure. And now here's a look with that Masterverse head on that 2000X inspired Origins body. And I'm leaving a cape and armor on, but that looks really cool. That's what's fun with the Origins, too. They mix, certain parts off certain Masterverse figures, like heads and accessories, work cool on Origins, and it bumps them up a notch. And most of the ball pegs work, the hands sometimes. And now bringing in the other first release Origin Skeletor with the really light skin and the first release head. There's quite a few heads out now, but we'll just stick with the open mouth one. I think it's cool. So I just threw the armored on without the cape first. Take a look at that. And now I just put on the cape, left that Origins head. Looks pretty cool. Like I say, each time you got to adjust this cape, mess around with it. You get the point. It's supposed to come around like this and hang in the back. But now, of course, there's a look with the Masterverse head on that lighter color first release Origins body and the cape. And while we're still playing around, I wanted to see if the Origins 2000X inspired cross armor fits this Masterverse Skeletor body. I don't think I ever tried that. And it actually fits pretty good and doesn't look bad at all. The darker armor anyway, with the little red jewel piece. And then here's a look with the cape on, the Origins armor, and of course that Masterverse Hordak or Horde Skeletor head. And for a little more wacky fun, since I got the Classics Terra Claws Skeletor out, I figured just use the Terra Claws on the Masterverse arms. I was curious they fit, and they fit pretty good. And I threw that weird armor he always had on it. The buckles pop. It's a poor design. It even is on a Classics. Put the cape, the head on. We want to check something like that out while we're just doing some wacky customs. Okay, so I put his original armor back on. Of course, we have the cape. I just threw the 2000X inspired Origins head, just see if the Origins head fits on this body, which I usually do. And that looks pretty cool on this particular Masterverse body, so we check that out. And then I just threw that first release Skeletor head on that body. A little silly looking, but it does work. So moving back to Masterverse Skeletor, all set up once again. And to go in a little deeper into some more custom ideas, I did take the Masterverse Hordak boots and put it on the Masterverse Skeletor's feet, or Horde Skeletor, because I had some questions and comments if I had that, going to try it once I posted this figure. Looks awesome. There's a Horde Skeletor. Now, here's our Hordak. I got them all ripped apart. So if you're not familiar, right, these are the Masterverse pegs that for the boots, and here's a Skeletor boot. I'm bringing it up because these are very difficult to take off. I used a blow dryer on a low heat for about a minute and a half. It's probably better to put them in hot water for a little while. It's the way customizers do it. And they come off a lot easier. Then they come off easier. Once you heat the boot, whether it's this one or the Horde boot, they go on easier and they come off. You got to be very careful with these pegs because you'll be surprised. You're pulling force and these turn white. You'll snap them. Anyway, so you want to take a look at that. And they articulate well, spin, right? Now we got the Hordak boots on this Skeletor. That looks cool. That's what it should have probably came with. So now I bumped Skeletor up a little more with some Horde parts on. So, of course, we kept the boots on. And I just put the Horde, Hordak's armored on under them. I threw the cape and then head back on. Check out something like that. Looks pretty cool. And you could put the red cape on, but this was the problem with this armor. It had the pegs that showed, so you'd have to put that Hordak neck piece. I don't think that looks good. I like this look with this covering the armor. But you want to check something like that out. Looks pretty neat. And since we're at it, I did throw that Hordak hood on, the red cape, and the Skeletor head now. So you want to take a look at that. That looks pretty cool. It's not bad. That works better than I thought. Now I took another look at it. And the Skeletor head does articulate with that neck piece on. Goes up and down, forward and back. And now we're turning Horde Skeletor more into Hordak. So I just took the Skeletor head and that hood off. I put the Hordak head on without that hood and the black cloak the Skeletor comes with, because this hood can't, if you put it on, it has those 3 pegs, and you can't put the hood on this first. It just it doesn't sit there. So I just tried this head without it. And it looks pretty creepy and cool with the armor and stuff and the boots and different color skin. And now here's a final look with just putting the regular Hordak cape, that hood, his head on, armor, the whole deal, boots, and keeping this Skeletor lower loincloth thing on with his belt. Now we just got another version of Hordak with the lighter skin. And now we got to see how the Horde Skeletor fits on the Classics Panther. Yeah, that looks awesome. He sits a little bit off it because of this type of loincloth. You can adjust it, but otherwise, got to have a Skeletor and a Panther. Alright, so that's pretty much my review on the new Masters Universe Horde Skeletor figure. Pretty cool, it's just, to me, it's just a variant Skeletor. I mean, the only things you're really getting different is this loincloth with the bat symbol in the belt. And that's not something easy to come off for customizers. There is a way to heat it and pull it down. You got to separate the leg, the thigh, and pull it down. Or you can make a cut, pull it off that way, and then glue it. I've done that. It's, a little tricky. But yeah, the ankle bracers or the shin guards are basically the same thing, but painted different. Cross armor's the same as the first release Skeletors I show, but painted different. And aside that, all you're really getting is, and so is the ram staff, but just a different, translucent effect up in the ram head, is just that cloak in the head, which is neat, and different color body. But that's basically all you're getting over the other Skeletor. It is neat that you can switch parts off with Hordak, like I showed. You can, you could do a ton of stuff with this particular figure and a little bit of a backstory. But aside that, that's all you're really getting. So if you wanted a variant Skeletor with the head and cloak and different color body and the odds and ends, go for it. But if you don't need all that stuff, then it's sort of a waste of money, I think, or you just want that figure in box as he is. That's cool too. Aside that, it's neat to have, I'd rather something else in this Wave 10 before another Skeletor variant, but that's what we get, that's what we got. It's cool, the Masterverse pushing forward. So I appreciate everybody watching, and until next time, take care.